Here is the breaking news. United Nations to cut 2026 budget. The United Nations officially announced its plans to slash its 2026 budget by 577 million US dollar, reducing workforce and scaling down certain operations. This is a very shocking news because United Nations is the world's largest organization to keep and maintaining world's peace and harmony. But this organization is started its journey to reducing its workforce and budget. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SATV's International Affairs, live broadcasting from SATV's Dhaka studio. My name is Rashid Kanchon. I will be your host. I have a very distinguished panelist in the studio. He is very good at international affairs and he is an academician as well. Former member Customs, National Board of Revenue, Ali Ahmed, my very favorite and very well respected personality. From Washington, we will have Norman Flatt Barnes, SATV's geopolitical correspondent based in Washington DC, and we are waiting for our international affairs commentator Shamsul Alam Pantho. Let me begin with Ali Ahmed, who always update himself on international issues. Sir, Donald Trump led US diplomacy on Ukraine versus Russia war potential, a peace deal under negotiation. He has sent his team, including he has done an unofficial job. He has included his son-in-law Jared Kushner without any portfolio with the team. Steve Witkoff. Officials from the US and Ukraine met recently as part of a renewed peace push under a plan promoted by the Trump administration. I just want to ask you the first question. Do you believe the current US-backed peace plan can produce a stable, lasting solution, or will it only cement a frozen conflict?
Well, very well said. It has a simile, cementing the frozen compact. Even if it is cemented, the ice below remains, and when the ice melts, the cement also makes way for it. Therefore, this very question also points to the probability of its not lasting very long or not lasting at all. Because if we see Donald Trump's latest version of his peacemaking deal in Gaza, what is happening? So many world leaders came and so many things happened and peace was achieved, such that war was bad. But has the war been stopped? Has it stopped? No.
Still IDF is forcing.
The thing is, they killed en masse when they could, with planes, tanks and everything. Now that the population size has come down small, so they can kill 100, 150, 200, one every day, every 2-3 days. And this breach of the peace deal, this breach of the ceasefire, who is honoring it and who is talking about it? And according to the peace deal program, Mr. Donald Trump is the so-called governor of the region. He has made himself, declared himself. What is he doing? Has he ever uttered a word? Has he ever asked Netanyahu to stop it? So if that is the precedence, just immediate and it's almost simultaneous. If this is the precedence, I don't have much faith in what is going to come from it.
Sir, one more thing. The discussions are focused heavily on post-war territorial borders and security guarantees. The discussions are not focused on stopping attacking each other or retaliation for each other. Both Ukraine and Russia have expressed cautious interest in the plan, but major striking points or sticking points remain, especially regarding land concessions and Ukraine's future alignment, especially with the NATO, because Putin has given 3 points, very strong 3 points. Number one, Ukraine has to reduce its military size. Ukraine has to quit its ambition to be a member of NATO, and Ukraine has to surrender. Once surrender word is come, it is not a negotiation, it is a kind of force stopping the war. I just want to ask you a question, I have designed it for you. How should Ukraine balance pressure to accept territorial concessions against long-term national security, national integrity, national dignity, national sovereignty, national interest and demand of the Ukrainian people?
Well, I would start from elsewhere. Since the question, the word surrender is included in the demand, maybe that will be withdrawn for prestige's sake. But you remember, of course, we were not born at the time, but you remember the peace deals after the First World War. Germany was defeated, and the Allied forces then gave Germany so stringent conditions, and Germany had no way other than following it, accepting it, because it is a totally vanquished nation. They did accept. But the modern historians, even we read it, they say that the first cause of the Second World War is the First World War. The concessions given to Germany, they gave size of the number of soldiers and reparation charges and so many other things. Germany was forced to give it. That gave rise to Hitler, and he came and he solidified, came his Nazism and all those things. So, this sort of peace, it is not peace, it is a peace of the graveyard. But Ukraine has not been defeated to that extent yet, although in the long run Ukraine may not be able to fight with Russia, especially when the USA, a active member of the so-called free world, and the NATO, it stands outside and works with Russia. I remember that he has said many times that European Union was created to destroy USA. So, if that is what he says, while not in office and while also in office this time also, this term. So, I am seriously in doubt if he really means good or equitable peace here. I don't think he does it.
Sir, I have a breaking news right this moment regarding Russia and Ukraine. Ladies and gentlemen, listen very carefully. We are talking here about the negotiations brokered by Donald Trump, supported by Russian President Vladimir Putin, but Putin did not stop his attack. The news is Russian forces claim capture of the strategic eastern Ukrainian city of Pokrovsk. This is eastern side and Russian side, a logistic hub, because most of the military operations, military industry are located over there, oil industry are located over there, and heavy industries are located over there. A significant shift in the ongoing war as well as negotiations. Ali Ahmed is here, who is very good at international affairs. Sir, what role should European powers play right this moment? Supportive, cautious, or hands off? Because one thing I just want to share with you, till last 10 months after the Alaska summit, President Trump started to talking off on NATO. He started talking about the European countries will give their own security. What is the significance you see in this matter, how European countries should play their role?
European countries are aware that this defense of Ukraine is not only Ukraine's defense, it is the defense of the rest of Europe. Because if the aggressor is given concession to the extent that he will take possession and ownership of the part he gains in war, unlawful and illegal and immoral war, that gives him a license to attack others. Think of Moldova, it is within the belly of Russia. So, that can go later, a small country like this. So, they are aware of it, and if you mark, these European countries, they have all increased their defense budgets, and they have also introduced compulsory training for in somewhere it is compulsory other it is also voluntary till now. In France it is still voluntary, because they know, and someone was saying, yes, we are preparing because a war is coming in 2-3 years time. War cannot be launched and cannot be won and cannot be successfully fought if you just jump into it. You need preparations, armaments, manufacture, mobilization of the troops and preparation of the troops and all those things. So, they are preparing. They know that whatever be the solution here, whatever is imposed by Russia with the active assistance of Donald Trump is not going to end here. There is going to be a European war, and they are preparing for it. So, I don't think, even if they are forced to accept it with differences, they will not say we accept. They will not agree, but will not be able to stop it, because they cannot win a war against Russia, United States sitting idle. And it definitely, Donald's US will definitely psychologically be siding with Russia and physically remain neutral.
Right, sir. Let me give you some statistics on Russian war history. Russia is currently engaged with Ukraine war, started 2022. I mean 3 years already passed. The war is ongoing. Strategically, more damage take place in Russian side. They have lost huge number of troops, tanks, drones and planes. Russia attacked Georgia in 2008 and Russia won the war, but Russia second time attacked Chechnya, which Russia won, but the Russia lost the first Chechnyan war and Chechnyan country has born. In Afghanistan during the Soviet era, Russia attacked Afghanistan but lost the war, and in also Second World War, Russia was in a losing side. My question would be, could a compromised peace deal under the broker in chief, I want to give a new term for Donald Trump, his plan embolden further Russian aggression or deter it?
It has definitely emboldened, because if you read the body language of the Russian president, I should say president, not other sides, Vladimir Putin and Witkoff or Donald Trump, they are buddies, very good friends, and they smile, this silly, not silly really, the sheepish smile, the very crooked smile, both sides, especially Putin, who is not seen to laugh or smile. He does it because they have secret deal, because you know Russia, America has, US has business deals, so many private business. Donald Trump's family business is there, and Putin is its guardian. So they cannot dissatisfy him, because Ukraine is to him it is nothing. He himself is taking Ukraine's minerals and all those, and he wants to take, still it is on his agenda, he wants to take that part of Denmark. So I do not think, even if an imposed peace is arrived at, because the war and other materials in Europe is not yet ready for a long war like World War III, very unfortunate though. So there may be a lull now for a few years, but this will reignite, and Europe knows it is preparing, and they know they have to fight Russia.
Sir, one of the commentators in Fox News was telling why Donald Trump is in an expressway or in a highway or in a high speed mode to stop all the external wars, because he has planned to go to attack Venezuela, Cuba, even he will do the acquisition of Greenland owned by Netherlands right this moment. I just have a last question for you regarding this. What are the humanitarian and economic trade-offs for Ukraine if it agrees to any major territorial or military concessions, and it will be a dire situation for the Ukrainians?
Oh yes, very much. The present president, the present government will not last. It will be just thrown out. That does not matter, but the country is seriously mangled, seriously injured, and the Ukrainians are very hardy people I should say. They are not going to accept it for long. there would be, if this is how it ends, I referred to the First World War. The cause of the Second World War was the First World War, the unfair, unjust compromise formula. So, it is going to be the major cause of another war, maybe the Third World War, which is very unfortunate, would be very unfortunate, because it would be injurious to us all everywhere in the world. So, we do not want, but the UN has also been made, how do I say, Donald Trump has withdrawn from many of its wings and has drastically cut down his portion of the subscription payment. So, he is if he is overthrown by his own country, by the Congress and others, otherwise he will have a run of this another 3 years, and he will cause irreparable damage to the entire world and the peace systems. Despite all its limitations, the UN is a body where we can go and talk, at least we can try something. But if that is actually gone, which is going away, you have said at the beginning, there has been a drastic cut down. It is because of American stoppage of its share of payments, etc. Bangladesh also pays to the UN. So, that is it. If that happens, then this peace would be the cause of the next war.
Sir, one recent survey I want to give and share with you. SIPRI is a worldwide known for its survey on world's military establishment. SIPRI recently says the military business has boomed in the world,
oh, yes,
except China. China could not do much development trading on this issue. SIPRI also says world is run by 4 kind of establishment. One is military establishment.
They call it military industrial complex.
Yeah, military establishment, then tech giants, then the corporate giants and financial giants.
Yes.
Recently, under the leadership of financial giant JP Morgan, they had a meeting that tech giants, corporate giants and financial giants, they do not want war anymore. But
yeah,
military lobby is so strong, they manipulate the White House, they manipulate the world leaders to continue the war, because they need to boom their business. Sir, my question is, why in 2025 so many wars is required? Is this ego?
You remember, I have no special fan, everyone, the American president, think of Barack Obama's time, think of his predecessor
Joe Biden,
and before that there was no war. During Bill Clinton's time, there was war in Europe, and that was stopped by Bill Clinton's international he did do it personally.
Right.
All of them got together, and finally the Hague justice and conviction of the then warlord, the president, happened. It is Donald Trump who is causing this. He has another very hidden ambition, not hidden really, much advertised I should say. He wants to win the peace prize, Nobel Peace Prize. And when he says that the war, think India, Pakistan, and India immediately retorts, no, we withdraw from it. There was no intervention by Donald Trump. So, he is counting in his fingers, but what is he doing elsewhere? This man is going to bring about, or being the prime cause of the next world war. I feel very sad to say the next world war, the Third World War. But if it happens, we may not live, or even if we live, we may starve. I do not know what is going to happen. But this is most unwelcome, and he is going to be the root cause of the next great war. I do not yet want to call it World War.
Right, sir. Here is a breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday, we shared that total 39 earthquakes took place around the world. Just now, news in that powerful earthquake continue hitting around the world. Today's global earthquake report notes 4 earthquake of magnitude 5 plus more, plus dozens of smaller tremors reflecting ongoing seismic activity across multiple regions. It means indication is the planet is at a risk of earthquakes. It is taking place around the globe in different continents, different countries. But I have one more back to back breaking news, diplomatic spotlight. Emmanuel Macron to visit Beijing amid EU-China tensions. French President Macron begins a state visit to Beijing as European nations navigate a complex balance between cooperation and rivalry with China, especially around trade, strategic dependencies and geopolitics. This is a bad news for American and Washington establishment, because European started to think about China. European understood China is the future. European started communicating with Beijing. Ladies and gentlemen, we have still lot more things to deliver today, but production team is instructing to go for a short commercial break. I apologize for that.
সারা দেশে লাখো মানুষের কঠোর কর্মতৎপরতা ও নিষ্ঠায় এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন 16 কোটি মানুষের হাতের নাগালে। দীর্ঘ 30 বছর ধরে বিশ্বস্ততা ও দ্রুততার সাথে সেবা দেওয়ায় গ্রাহক সেবায় এখন শীর্ষে। বাংলাদেশে গ্রাহক সেবার সাফল্যের পর এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন বিশ্ব বাণিজ্য কেন্দ্র সিঙ্গাপুরে। আপনার যে কোনো পণ্য সিঙ্গাপুর থেকে বাংলাদেশে বুকিং এর জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন। এসএ পরিবহন প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড, লজিস্টিক্স পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস, 22 রবার্টস লেন, সিঙ্গাপুর 218302। ফোন 0065 629 24900। বাংলাদেশ থেকে সিঙ্গাপুরে পণ্য বুকিং এর জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন ঢাকা সহ দেশের যে কোনো 80টি শাখা কেন্দ্রে। এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস, আপনার সেবা সব সময়।
Welcome, Grand Palace Hotel, Dhaka. A majestic lobby blending timeless elegance with modern design. Experience 5-star comfort in suites and rooms. Sophisticated fine dining restaurant. Crystal clear swimming pool for ultimate relaxation. Modern gym and serene spa for well-being. Perfect venue for corporate events, weddings and parties. Seamless and secured, elegant and eye-catching design. Indulge, relax, discover the first 5-star chain hotel.
Back-to-back breaking news are coming to the newsroom. OPEC unveils new oil production quota system. OPEC has introduced a revised quota mechanism designed to distribute production fairly across number of countries by 2027, a move expected to redraw investment and production dynamics in the oil market. This is a new dynamics, but let me welcome warmly our international affairs commentator Shamsur Alam Pantho. Sir, I know you have many things to add with this. We have just discussed Russia-Ukraine peace talks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kanchan. Of course, a very warm welcome to Mr. Ali Ahmed in the studio, and I'm sure Norman is also in the show with us on Zoom. I want to just add on that the Kremlin on Monday said that an expected meeting between Russian President Vladimir Putin and US President Donald Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff will take place today in Moscow. And of course, this meeting is to understand how this Russia-Ukraine peace talk is going to come forward and what are the bilateral agreements between the United States of America and of course Russia. And on the other side, we have Turkey's economy expanding 3.7% year on year in Q3. Of course, the gross domestic product at current prices surged 41.6% to 0.42 trillion Turkish liras, which is of course 409 billion US dollars in July and September. This is just to show how Turkey has developed over the last couple of days. And of course, Secretary of War, and of course, if you would call it, Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump made it clear that the designated narco-terrorist groups are subject to lethal targeting in accordance with the laws of war. These are the words that were uttered by spokesperson Caroline Levitt of the White House.
Recently, one American media has criticized Pete Hegseth according to his attitude to the generals who has entirely dedicated their life for the security and safety of America, for the ambition of America. Pete Hegseth has been criticized by few generals. This should be in discussion, but according to editorial policy, we will have to move on. Sir, the Russia-Ukraine peace talk brokered by the chief of war broking, negotiation broking, Donald Trump, he also has been criticized by American top medias, a deal that involves Ukraine ceding land or giving up security alliances, risk undermining its sovereignty and could set a dangerous precedent, sacrificing principle for expediency. And also been praised by American Republican-backed media as a deal backed by a major power like US under Trump could provide security guarantees and pressure for compliance, offering Ukraine a viable path forward. Sir, how do you see two giant media in America has took two ways to praise or to criticize?
That is what it is. But the thing is, the power that be. Donald Trump is in power. The Congress is sometimes reported to initiate some steps, but he also has a majority in both the houses still, till the midterm comes when it may change. But still then, his impeachment leading to removal is the only answer, but that is not, it's talked about, but it does not seem to progress anymore. So, we may have to wait for another 3 years, but 3 years is a very long time for the whole world to wait for the removal of Mr. Trump. In my opinion, he is pushing the whole world to the brink of disaster, brink of destruction, I should say. Countries like ours, who may not be a party to any side of the war, will suffer its consequences in so many ways. So, I am afraid, I am shaking to think of the future if Donald Trump continues to be at the helm of affairs for still a long time, 3 years.
There is a little chances to remove him from the presidency, as both the houses is Republicans
but
control.
Republicans also can go against him. There are precedences of this. They can go.
Let us shift to other geographical location, Gaza. Although a ceasefire has been formally declared, reports show suffering in Gaza remains severe, widespread destruction, displacement and a growing humanitarian crisis, including children forced into labor. Ladies and gentlemen, this is 2025, modern era. The children in Gaza are forced to go for labor. Meanwhile, in Israel, major political developments continue. The country's leader has requested a pardon in his long-running corruption trial, a move that has stirred both domestic and international reactions. I want to onboard our international affairs commentator Shamsul Alam Pantho in this question. First, is the current ceasefire in Gaza likely to hold or just a temporary pause before renewed violence? Because you always say it is a fragile ceasefire.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kanchan, for leading me on towards this Gaza issue. I would just want to say that yesterday we figured out that Benjamin Netanyahu is accused of corruption cases in which he had sought the pardon from Israel's President Isaac Herzog. It was met by protesters trying to influence the president in not allowing this pardon. And of course, the Israeli Knesset's Foreign Affairs and Defense Committee resumed discussions on a new military conscription bill on Monday amid growing disputes within the ruling coalition. This is the news that is coming out as of today. And of course, as live updates are following on, Israeli forces continue demolition, destruction around Gaza City. And of course, Gaza City, not just Gaza City, is also the West Bank. So these acts are definitely acts of war in some kind of senses, but they are conducting war with a civilian population as far as I see it. And yesterday there is some kind of celebration between the Gazan people because Palestine had won 1-0 over a football game with host Qatar. So that is one of the aspects of aspirations of the Palestinians. But coming back to the issue of this fragile ceasefire, as you led me on, I don't think this is any longer a ceasefire. I think this is just to keep the mediating countries at a bay. They have used the hand of the United States in this specific regard. And just last week we have seen torrential rain already making the lives of Palestinians much harder to survive. I'm pretty sure that everyone knows they live in these makeshift tents across hospital boundaries, which is of course devastating to see on a daily basis. But what is the future of Benjamin Netanyahu in his own government is a matter of question.
Excellent. I really appreciate your bird's eye observation and analysis on especially Russia, Ukraine and Israel Gaza issue. Thank you very much for your deep study on this. I want to onboard Ali Ahmed. Before onboarding him, I want to give an information. Recently, Arab News, backed by Aramco, backed by Saudi royal family, has written an article, an editorial that 3 religions, 3 people are making this world hell. One is Jewish, Benjamin Netanyahu. One is Protestant Christian, is Donald Trump. Another one is ultra orthodox Vladimir Putin. There is no participation from other religions. These 3 men is making the world hell. What is your observation? And along with, I want to add one question. What should be the role of international community in facilitating reconstruction and humanitarian aid in Gaza? Because still we see in the news humanitarian aid trucks are blocked by IDF.
Yes. First is an observation, as you said, of these 3 persons representing 3 major religions in the world. Well, there may be differences of opinion, but it is the truth now, just dazzling before our eyes. So I do not differ. I agree, but with some reservations, because there are some other people also, maybe of some other religions or some others, but this is more or less true at the moment. And the other question you asked is the prospect of peace. I would love to be able to say, yes, I fully agree that it's coming to a proper acceptable end, this hellish war. But if you see these situations and the past examples and other things, I don't see there may be an end because of the defeat sort of Ukraine, and in this case of Gaza, because they are weak. But this is a lull, maybe for a few years. But as I said, the cause of the Second World War was in the First War. So this is also going to be a repetition of history in that way, and the world is going to be more uncomfortable, as I discussed at length. And the European powers, they are preparing themselves with no secret. They say it openly. They are enhancing their defense budgets. The military industrial complex is gaining by that, and then they are also have started conscription in some places, but also voluntary training in some others, like in France. So this is a preparation. Maybe takes, they said, one of the presidents, I don't remember who, said that it will take about 2-3 years maybe. So after about 3 years, they might think that they can be independent in handling Russia without America. That is how they are prepared.
Do you agree one comment by Ulf Blitzer? He says America has lost Middle East.
America has lost Middle East. You know, the American history has few incidents. They call it the isolationism. There are times when America withdrew from the world. In fact, the period prior to the Second World War was like that. So, this is American withdrawal, but America is so vast now, so powerful, and they have businesses all over the world, and the president himself has big businesses all over the world, especially in Russia and other countries. So, they cannot withdraw or become isolationists like before, but they are in effect, in reality, isolated from the goodness of the world as America used to be in the past. So, that is very unfortunate, and Europeans have been trying to come up to a standard where they can handle Europe themselves. So, that is what it is.
Here is a breaking news again. Vladimir Putin started his journey to India, pushing arms and energy deals. Russia's president is in New Delhi for a two-day visit, aiming to strengthen energy and defense ties, offering oil, missile systems and fighter jets amid mounting US pressure. Shamsulam Pantho, what you gonna say after this breaking news?
Thank you for the question. And of course, Russian president was earlier on during the BRICS issue, and of course the Shanghai Cooperation summit that have held earlier. They were talking about a suspected visit of Russian President Vladimir Putin into India. But of course, this is an exchange of not only economic ties but also military ties, and I know that for some extension that India has been a factor to fueling economy or keeping the economy of Russia's economy safe, given that Russia has been conducting this war for 3.5 years with Ukraine. And of course, the burden of sanctions on Russia, tariffs on Russia, these are elements to cripple that economy so that they cannot conduct their war or their attempt at deterrence towards Ukraine, even though Russia is known as the oppressor in this war. However, this relationship is only severing ties between the United States administration and India. Earlier, as you know, they had been slammed with a huge tariff because of their closeness to Russia. So I want to see how the US administration sees this visit, of course.
All right, sir, before I go to break, I just want to get a take on this issue from Ali Ahmed. He has long observations regarding this geopolitical tie-ups. Russian president is visiting New Delhi, will be doing lot of counterpart meetings. Do you believe or do you find any potentials that somehow, somewhere, in some reason, Bangladesh will face some impact on this meeting of two superpowers?
Yes, Bangladesh, after this political changeover in Bangladesh, it has delinked from the Indian side. Previously, Bangladesh started talking about siding with Russia because of the indebtedness it has in 1971 veto and all those help for the creation of Bangladesh. That is a true indebtedness Bangladesh has. Now, with the change of the political structure in Bangladesh, there is no political structure yet, but this interim government, Bangladesh will stand aside, will not start any direct opposition of India, but this is going to have some impact in trade and all those things. But I have a feeling that Bangladesh is not going to directly side with either of the parties now, and especially also this sort of a government, the so-called transitional government, cannot also start the fate of a country by joining a side in a war or severe war dispute. So, Bangladesh is going to be uncomfortable, but will stay neutral now.
Yeah, I appreciate the word uncomfortable. We have almost $47 billion trade ties with Russia, bilateral ties, including $14.65 billion Rupur nuclear power plant and other investments. We have more than $100 billion bilateral trade relationship with India. If these two world superpower get ties, get bonded, do you think Bangladesh has a chance to face a little bit tough and obstacles in geopolitical decisions?
Thank you, Mr. Kanchan. Of course, if the relationship between India and Russia are coming to a very closer relationship between the two parties, there is a chance of Bangladesh being left out of this investment by Russia and of course receiving by India. But I have been looking at social media as of recently, and a popular politician, a very young politician from Bangladesh, is becoming very popular in Bangladeshi talk shows and Bangla talk shows as well. And he said, we are not anti-India, we are anti-aggression. That means any side that shows us that we are under them or below them is definitely someone who we should take note of. And of course, in the last 15 years, that is the stance that India has kept. So today there is a chance, there is an opportunity cost with our neighbor that they must also understand the national priorities of Bangladesh. And I must give credit to that young politician that he has brought it up on a
Would
national...
you mind to name?
I think his name is something Hadi, Osman Hadi, that he had said this on a program on Centrist National TV. But that wasn't as important as it...
Can I?
Yeah, please.
There has been a political... Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir, the Secretary General of the BNP, the party that is now touted to be in power next, I don't know what happens. They have said that they will not be anti-Indian because they understand that anybody with a cool head being in charge in Bangladesh has to maintain a semblance of, not a semblance, real connection with India. We may not be and we will not be, we shall not be their clients, but we should have a good trading relations and other relations. So the party in power that is fated to, or I shouldn't say fated, that is largely believed to be coming to power,
Right, sir.
also are committing that they want to be in a friendly relation with India as well as with Pakistan. A survey also came to me from one of these. I said we should have trade. They asked which we should have trade with Nepal, Bhutan, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Myanmar and other great countries. They said you are being...
This is a pretty interesting subject. After the break we will discuss on it, but I want to share one news with Panthu sir because he was not that time in the studio. Europeans understood that China is the future. Europeans started to move east, not west. Currently, French President Emmanuel Macron is in a 3-day visit to Beijing to create trade after 137 years of France-China relationship, the trade beginning between France and China. Ladies and gentlemen, when we will be back, we will definitely discuss the future of Bangladesh's move because Bangladesh Foreign Ministry has decided friendship to all, allies to none.
Welcome to Grand Club at Mirpur 10, Dhaka. Elegant spa and wellness facility for ladies and gents. Play pool and snooker in international standard billiard zone. World-class gym facility with exclusive equipment for man and woman. A restaurant of delicious local and international cuisine. Fully air-conditioned building with spacious banquet, car lift, sky view rooftop restaurant, all in one. Grand Club Limited, Mirpur 10, Dhaka.
কি এমন জিনিস যেটা সব লোকে খায়, ছোটরা খেলে পরে কেঁদে মায়ের কাছে যায়, বৃদ্ধ লোক খেলে পরে মাথায় দেয় হাত, যুবক যুবতীরা খেলে পরে এদিক ওদিক তাকায়?
ছেড়ে দে শয়তান, ছেড়ে দে, দেহ পেলে আমার মন পাবি না, ছেড়ে দে।
কোন ফলের বীজ নেই বলো দেখি দাদা, বলতে না পারলে হবে তুমি গাধা।
মন্দিরা চক্রবর্তী কার সাথে প্রেম করছে?
আমি এখন মা হতে চলেছে।
চিনেছি তোমারে আকারে প্রকারে, দিনের আলো রাতের আধারে।
কোন বাসায় শুধু দুজন থাকে, দরজা জানালা ছাদ কিছুই থাকে না?
পা। পায়ের নুপুর। ছন্দ। মনে হচ্ছে কি ছু দিয়ে জাদু মন্ত্র।
এক্স্যাক্টলি। পায়রে নুপুর আমার।
অরিক্স স্পেশাল সেলিব্রিটি শো তারকা।
I can give you one background of the movement of Bangladesh Bangladeshi leaders. In 2002, the then government took a look east policy, and Delhi started to misbehave with us. I was a field reporter that time. Every day our reporting top lead news was push into Bangladesh, stopping cows and beefs to Bangladesh, stopping vegetables, rice to Bangladesh. I have had the opportunity to go to New Delhi with the then Foreign Minister Manzoor Morshed Khan and to meet with the then Prime Minister of India Atal Bihari Vajpayee, L.K. Advani Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Yasavant Sinha. They disliked our policy. They said you have to stop looking at policy. Sir, I want to begin with you because you are a young generation leader. Every sovereign country has right to make their own decisions. Why neighboring country will dictate us? Where we'll go, where we'll do business, where we'll create relationships, why?
Thank you for the question. And of course, when one looks at the geographical aspect of Bangladesh and its close proximity with India, there are multiple territories here that we must consider. One of them, I can give an example. India calls that other 7 sister states that we know as Arunachal Pradesh. Well, China does not even recognize this location. That is not a fight for Bangladesh. That is a fight between India and China, where one does not recognize this piece of land. A tourist from UK had was supposedly to go to Japan, and she used the Chinese port as a transit, and the Chinese officials had said that you are invalid. Your passport is invalid because your birthplace is Arunachal Pradesh and we do not recognize this place. These are the comments that were made on behalf of the Chinese side. As of recent days, India and China are understanding what differences they see between these 7 states. And from what we see in Bangladesh, we have a 4,000-kilometer border alongside India and with Myanmar as connecting. But we do not understand that these borders must be reinforced. First, it has to be border sovereignty, then it will be sovereignty of the land inside. In 1965, Singapore was kicked out of Malaysia. They realized some of the aspects that they realized was that they must be self-servient, self-sufficient. Their language had turned into English, English language is accepted worldwide. They had made sure that corruption had gone down, and politicians were paid ultra-high premiums so that they would not take part in corruption. So these are the methods that Singapore used to reinforce this island. So question being again, how as a nation in Bangladesh are we going to understand these issues? Back in 2018, we've had over 1 million refugees come into our lands, and we did not, at that time, we did not retaliate with Myanmar. I think we should have. Back then, we should have understood that what are the indifferences between these two lands. Today, this refugee crisis is among the world's one of the most heinous, if not demanding refugee crisis. Of course, the interim government here has spoken about a peaceful transition of Rohingyas back into their homeland. But we have seen, as of recently, we have seen no kind of update.
Exactly, sir.
And then we know that our neighborhood have nuclear powered weaponry, where in Bangladesh we are still back in 1980s. We definitely need a revamp of the military infrastructure that we have here, the military strongholds that we have here, and be ready at all costs. Because if you look at European Union, they have surface-to-air missiles at every border installation they have, because of such giant called Russia trying to project their power onto these places, hence these surface-to-air missiles. But if you look at Bangladesh, it's only barbed wire with a fence. We are still back in 1980s.
Very smart observation. I want to come to Ali Ahmed, the former member customs NVR, very good at international affairs, academician as well. Sir, I can remember one speech by Soviet Union's last president Gorbachev. He said, detachment from attachment may make you stronger or may put you in a weaker position. Which one you gonna pick? And relate it with Bangladesh, because India will not cooperate us, Myanmar will not cooperate us. We have only blue economy in Bay of Bengal. I think you understand what I mean.
No, we don't. This is, I think, this is realized. Before you know, I also, after the stint with the government, I was for some times in the research circle. Of course, that had also touched with the government. We know the blue economy is being given sufficient importance and taken into consideration, and there is a budget provision in Bangladesh on blue economy. But it takes a long time for all these things to be ready about it. Bangladesh started from the scratch. You know, it was a backyard of United Bengal. In the British Empire, this was the backyard, though it was the great revenue building place during Mughal times and after that, but it fell into disuse and the marshy lands, and so it was neglected. After the creation of Pakistan and then Bangladesh, we have to start everything from scratch, just by whatever the form of government or kind of government. So it takes us time. We don't have any built-in infrastructure. So this blue economy also needs cooperation from other countries and also our own preparation. But as you know, the relatively poor country, it's not as poor as we had been, but budget has so many demands, and blue economy also demands it greatly, because that is our great potential. And Bangladesh, irrespective of government, seems to be careful about that. So I believe time is coming not very far away when we will also be able to take care. But we have also to be careful about our relations with the great neighbor, India, because we can never fight India. So we have to maintain a normal, friendly relation, but an independent and friendliness with self-respect and self-esteem.
After Ali Ahmed very clear statement that we cannot fight with India, we will maintain our friendship, but we will have to find out our own way. Do you
and
think
also our self-esteem and self-respect must be there.
Exactly. After this, I just want to ask you, do you think China would be our, or Eastern Asia would be our next look forward?
Thank you once again. I want to keep this short, but I must say we must know how to poke India and get our interest back in return, and in metaphorical terms, poke the bear and run away. But if you look at China, they have to make a very difficult decision regarding the 7 states that I said, and definitely we are still waiting to see how India and China play out this recent diplomatic issue.
Very tough words. I must
No, but
say.
I have to, I want to put in
Yes,
something here. This Arunachal Pradesh, if you remember what happened with the Mr. Durand, this Durand line, an imaginary line, they said that portion of the called now Arunachal was a part of China, the Chinese say, part of China, and during the British colonial period when Britain was the strongest power like America today in the world, they took it by force. China was sleeping. So that is why Arunachal, they claim, is Chinese, maybe. But this line, Durand line, created by the British, Durand was the general there. So
Right.
China, maybe there are reasons behind it. I am not very well conversant about that side of the history. It may be Chinese, maybe Indian, I don't know, but it is disputed. But the whole area is not disputed. And moreover, these 7 sister countries, so-called 7 sisters, except Tripura was a native state, we know. The others came to India, became a part of India
Right.
during the British period.
Right,
It
sir.
was not a part of old India.
I really love the very nice conversation between two very patriotic gentlemen from different 2 generations. That should be the spirit of keeping protected our national integrity, sovereignty, security, and also dignity. Ladies and gentlemen, as a design of the program, we have a birthday wish part. Today is a birthday of such a beautiful woman, Britney Spears, who is a famous American pop singer born December 2, 1981, and due to her very versatile music performance, she became the heartthrob of our generation. We want to wish her happy birthday, Britney Spears. We will see you tomorrow.